Face ready. All right. Welcome to another episode of Sportscast. We are talking about the top 5 NBA franchises of all time. I'm Spencer, as you already know, and my favorite team is the Clippers, and I'm here with...
My name is Andy, and my favorite team is the best team ever, the Spurs.
And my name is Danny, and I am a Celtics fan.
Wow, that's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what I was thinking we were going to do is everybody just kind of list off their top 5 and kind of why, and then we can roast each other once we're done with that. So, Andy, you can start.
Okay. 1 second. My top 5. I'm not looking at the camera. Okay, sorry.
Just look.
I'm going to write it over here on the whiteboard. Is that okay?
Fine. Whatever.
Excellent. Okay, so. Number 5.
That's the worst 5 I've ever seen.
No, that's a good 5. I'm going to go with the Bulls. Alright, wait, no. Yeah, whatever.
Just write it.
The Bulls. Number 4. The Warriors. Number 3.
So you're talking in this direction, the microphone's in that direction, and
The
you're
Celtics.
blocking what you're writing with your body.
The Celtics. Number 2. The Lakers. And number 1. The Spurs, because they're the best team of all time.
Okay, so sit down and read that out so everyone can understand what you just put up on the
All right,
board.
number 5 is the Bulls. Number 4 is the Warriors. Number 3 is the Celtics. Number 2 is the Lakers. And number 1 is the Spurs. I think I've heard those.
So explain why. You didn't explain anything. You just wrote it all
You
down.
told me to do that.
And then I said explain.
Okay, number 5 is the Bulls because they have like 6 championships, but it was in that one little era kind of with Michael Jordan. So, you know. And then the Warriors have won 3 championships, like spread out in the 1900s and that time. And then they won 3 in the past 4 years, and I think they're going to win like 5 more. And then, what's so funny? I don't understand.
It's just funny.
And then, listen. Spurs are obviously the best because they have the highest win percentage of all time, which is like 62%. And they've made the playoffs every year since 1997, which is 22 years. And they've only missed the playoffs for 4 years since
All right, fantastic.
they became a
So-
team in 1967.
Okay, so...
Now the Lakers and Celtics, Lakers have 16 championships and the Celtics have 17. But most of those were in times where there was only like 10 teams, and they both had like a few really good players, and then all the other teams had like these trash short midgets. Okay, I'm done.
Okay, so my top 5 is... It was a tough decision for the number 5 spot, but I'm going with the Pistons, and then number 4 is the Spurs, 3 is the Bulls, 2 is the Celtics, 1 is the Lakers. So I said that the Lakers were number 1 because they had more championships after more teams started entering in the league. And whenever you think of like the America's team and like all the amazing players that come from one franchise, I mean, they got Wilt, Kareem, Kobe, Shaq, now they have LeBron. So, I mean, they're just a pretty stacked franchise. The Celtics have the most championships.
What franchise?
Pretty stacked.
No, stacked. Sorry. Continue.
I'm speaking. Do not interrupt me.
Oh, my bad.
And the Celtics do have the most championships, but it was when there was like 8 teams, and Bill Russell did kind of dominate, but there wasn't much competition. And then the Bulls, you already know, they have Michael Jordan, probably the best player ever, but we're going to save that for another day. 6 championships, pretty good, and they have a lot of all-stars. Spurs, same way. They have a lot of good players, but they're just not exciting, and I don't think that they should be any higher than where they are, unlike him. And then I think the Pistons are number 5 because they have some spread-out championships, a decent amount of all-stars, and I think they're a good team. So what do you think?
I think both of your lists are great. I agree. I think you could put the Pistons at number 5. I think you'd have to put the Warriors at number 4 right now. I personally don't love the Spurs, but you kind of have to put the Spurs in the top 5. So I would put the Spurs as number 3. Then you got to put the Lakers and then my hometown favorites, the Celtics, number one. Not only did Bill Russell, Bob Cousy, John Havlicek, and those guys dominate, but also Larry Bird, Robert Parrish, and the great Kevin McHale also dominated in the 80s and the early 90s as well. And the great rivalry between the Lakers and the Celtics started and really, I'd say, thrived during that time as well. And then the Lakers, I mean, you named it. You didn't even say George Mikan. Mikan was the man back in the day, too.
I hate that drill, by the way.
So, the Mikan drill.
Really
That's
fun.
killer.
It's not. I get all dizzy because I look up for so long, but
That's the whole point. But the first, big man as well. Also, none of us said the Houston Rockets. I think you'd argue that the Houston Rockets could be in there too with Hakeem the Dream and those guys. So there's some great teams, but yeah, you got to give it to the Celtics and the Lakers. I mean, those are a toss-up. Everyone else just kind of follows suit.
Yeah.
There.
All right, so now that we've kind of said where we think, first we're going to flame Andy for putting the Spurs at number 1.
Wait, why do we have to flame me?
Because you put them at number 1.
Well, you put the Pistons. The Pistons are obviously not a top 5 team of all time.
Okay,
Because they're not better than
They
any
had-
of those 5
They had the
teams.
original Bad Boys.
You can't. You
Okay,
cannot.
but they only have 3 championships.
avoid-
And according to your facts, they've won less games than they've lost.
And they also dethroned Boston and Chicago on their way to the finals as well.
Repeat
Just
that.
saying. They also dethroned Boston and Chicago on their way to their finals as well in the late 80s.
Won 3
Okay,
championships.
so Spurs at number 1. That is completely wrong
How?
because
Give me
right
one
here.
reason. One reason.
So the Spurs have 5 championships. The Lakers have 16 and the Celtics have 17. 5 to 16 and
So
17.
when did the Lakers become a team? What year?
They've been a team for 70 years, so 48 maybe? I don't know.
Wait,
58.
what's 48? Oh, 1948. I get it. Okay.
Whatever.
Gotcha.
Doesn't matter. They've been a team for a long time. Yeah, they played when there was like 8 teams, and they played everybody numerous times in the season. But the Spurs only have 5 championships, and they were all recently, not like spread out. So, and then the Celtics average 2 All-Stars a season, and the Lakers average 2 All-Stars a season, and the Spurs average 1.3 All-Stars a season. So that means that you don't have a lot of star and marquee players.
Yeah, but that
whereas
just
the
shows that
Celtics
the
and Lakers both
coaching-
do. The coaching.
The coaching is better in San Antonio because he makes stars instead of already having these amazing players. Or he makes the team succeed more, whichever makes more sense.
51 seasons, 5 championships. So that means they win 1.
Yeah, but they've
But
all
every
won them
10
in the
years.
past.
That's what I'm
18
saying. It's
years,
not like
which is
spread
5
out. They're
out
not
of-
consistently good.
Yeah, but they've been one of the best teams the past 18 years. So they've won 5 championships in 18 years.
That's true, but
Which
it's
is
not
like
spread out.
A little less
So
than a third.
the Celtics have been a team for 72 years. Have this fact sheet, so I know everything because I can't memorize this. So
I can. That's why.
let's see, that's like 4. So yeah, the Celtics win about on average 1 every 4 years. Even though it hasn't seemed like that recently, they won so much in the past, and you average it out, it's about 4.5 years. And then the Lakers win about the same, 1 out of every 4 to 4.5 years, and the Spurs win 1 out of every 10. Not even close at all. 4.5 to 10. That's twice. That's
Okay, but
twice
like-
the span.
Listen. 1 second. I need to think this out. I say.
I will say though, for San Antonio, for a team that doesn't like spending a lot of money on players as well, which they don't, they're very frugal. I would say not very big at signing big names. They do find a way to win, regardless of the circumstances. So I think that they're a great team, but I don't think
You
they're
think
on
that
the
they're the
level.
best championship team of all time?
I do not. I don't
No.
think they're the best franchise.
They
of all
also have the
time.
best coach of all time.
That is arguable, but he
Are
is
we
true.
talking about the best coach? No. Is that true?
He is an
Yes.
amazing coach, though. I
Yes.
agree. I think he is the best.
But we're not talking about that today. We're talking about franchise and not just the coach. Weirdo. Okay.
What? I
So
feel like every time I make a point, you just decide to like contradict. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, I mean everything you say is questionable. So the Spurs have 74,
No, like, just because
74
it's your
total
podcast doesn't mean you
All-Stars.
can just interrupt me every time I try to say something.
What do you have to say that's
Now,
actually
just
valid and
just
can make a
continue.
point?
It's fine. It's fine. Just continue.
Okay. So, the Celtics and Lakers have both been a team for 20 more years than the Spurs. And the Celtics have twice as many All-Stars, and the Lakers have almost twice as many All-Stars. And yes, they did play when there weren't that many teams.
Wait. The Lakers have twice as many All-Stars as the Celtics?
The Lakers have twice as many All-Stars as the Spurs. And the Celtics
I didn't know we were
have...
still on the Spurs.
Yes, we are.
We should have
This
made that
podcast should
clear.
be
I didn't
like,
know we were still
why the
roasting.
Spurs aren't the greatest franchise
See,
of all time.
Spencer's favorite team is the Clippers. Let's go on that for a second.
Okay,
They're statistically
let's
the
do it,
worst
yes.
team of all time.
Okay,
The worst team of all time.
we can't argue with that.
Of all time.
First, they are undefeated in the conference finals.
That's true.
Undefeated in the finals, just because they haven't made it. Are they the worst team in the league? Yeah, probably. But this isn't about the worst team, because I can
I'm just saying, the
admit,
team
I
you
can
like is really
admit
bad.
that they're not a very good team,
They're
and they
not.
could be up there for the worst.
They are.
But he's just up here lying, saying that the Spurs are the best when they're definitely not.
I disagree. I
That's
think
false.
they definitely are. They have the highest
'cause
win
they're-
percentage. They've won 62% of games.
Okay, and have they won 62% of championships? No.
Well, no,
So-
but the ones they've been a part of.
What? Have they lost any?
40
They
40
lost to the Heat
okay,
in
46
twice, right.
46 total playoff appearances, 5 championships.
But that's not 46
5
total
championships.
finals appearances.
They've made it into the playoffs 46 times.
Well,
won the That's 1 out of 9. So they win a championship 1 out of every 9 times.
I'm just saying.
They go to the playoffs.
Lakers
and then-
haven't won the same percentage of games as the Spurs
It's
have,
2% less.
which means, yeah, but that's a lot of games, considering how many's been played.
Okay, and the
So-
regular season does not matter. It's only about
This
postseason.
isn't regular season percentages as well, or is it?
It's regular season and probably postseason.
Well, I thought you just said
combined.
regular season doesn't matter.
Regular season win percentage doesn't matter once you get into the playoffs.
Then why do you have these numbers here? If they don't matter.
Okay, we need those to compare, but that doesn't mean
But you just said
because-
they don't matter.
Okay, so if the Spurs have 2% of a better winning percentage than the Lakers, 62 to 60, why is that such a big deal? Why does that matter?
Because
the Lakers
it means that out
the
of
Lakers have 11 more championships. Continue
means-
what you have to say.
11 more what?
He has a point there.
11 more championships. Is that
Okay,
acceptable?
well, yes, they've won more championships. But
But they win in the regular season when it doesn't matter, and that's what counts. That's what you're
why do you have these numbers that they don't matter? That's what I don't understand.
I'm not saying they don't matter. I'm just saying you can't compare that as saying they're the better team because they win.
You just
2%
said they
more
don't matter,
games.
though.
Let's get back to your.
Now you're contradicting
your
what you just
5,
said.
though. Your Pistons and everyone else.
Okay,
Sure.
so I said Pistons
Why,
at 5.
why do you think Pistons deserves to be on this list?
So the Pistons have won throughout their history. They don't have a ton of championships. That's true. But they average 1.5 All-Stars a season, which is pretty good, better than the Spurs, I might add.
Why is that?
And-
Why is that relevant? I don't understand that. Why-
Because you
why?
put them at number 1, and I put the Pistons at number 5, and you're trying to flame me for that.
Well,
when
we're
they have
trying to
0.2
we're talking about
All-Stars.
franchises and best teams, not who has the best players. Because
Okay.
then the Warriors would be
The
number
best
1. because they have
franchises
5 All-Stars.
produce and have the most All-Stars. Just saying.
No,
okay,
I don't think so. I disagree with that.
So, the Pistons have been a team for 70 years. That's a pretty long time, and only 3 championships. That's not too good, but they've made it to the playoffs 41 out of 70 seasons, which is probably 60%. Not talking about win percentage. We're talking about the times they've made it into the playoffs out of their seasons, which is pretty good. And they had the bad boys, plus they had Chauncey Billups, and they had Ben Wallace and Rasheed Wallace and all those dudes. 2 separate
The
eras,
Spurs
2
have made the
separate good
playoffs. The
teams.
Spurs have made the playoffs 47 out of 51 times. Just saying. Okay, continue.
No, what?
Yes.
What did you just say?
They've made the playoffs 47 out of 51 times.
Who have?
The Spurs.
No.
Yes, they have.
You're reading that backwards. The Spurs have had 46 playoff appearances and 51 total seasons. That's actually pretty good. That means they've only missed it 5
Fine, I
times.
was off by
5
one
times.
number.
That's impressive.
Okay,
Okay.
they've only missed the playoffs 5 times.
Okay.
And these, whatever team you just said,
And they've
missed
won
the
5
playoffs
times.
23 times.
Okay. And they've
Wait,
been a team
29
for.
times.
I'm not arguing that they're number 1. You're saying they're number 1.
I'm not saying
you're saying
they're
the,
number 1.
You're saying the Spurs
I
are
don't
number
think they
1.
should be on this list at all. I think the Bulls are a better franchise than them.
I have the Bulls higher than the Pistons.
Then what team do you not have on? You don't have the Warriors on there. The Warriors should be on there.
Why? Just because of how good they are now? No.
And they won in 47, they won in 75, and they won in 56, which is spread out. Like
that is spread out.
And
yeah.
they've won 3 championships in the last 4 years. And they're going to win more championships, definitely. So...
Whatever you say, unless Kawhi. Unless Kawhi gets
Every
the
time I make a
Lakers,
valid
which he
point,
might.
you just be like, yeah, whatever you say.
It's not a valid point.
Yes, it is a valid point. Why is that not a valid point?
Yeah, I completely forgot what you said because I was thinking of a roast. Say what you said again.
Whatever, it's fine. It's fine. Let's just continue on.
It's fine.
Blame Spencer in the comments. 61 subscribers.
Whatever. Okay, so I have Pistons at 5, Spurs at 4. I'm not saying the Spurs are terrible, but they're definitely not quite as good as a franchise as the Bulls and then the Celtics. And then
But why aren't they as good as the Bulls? I don't understand that.
Because, one, the Bulls had probably the greatest player of all time, and they had 2 three-peats, which isn't spread out, but it's not all consecutive.
But it was in a span of 8 years. They won 3, then they didn't win 2,
Yeah.
then they won 3 again.
Okay.
So that's not spread out at all. It's in the same
I
decade.
didn't. I said it wasn't spread out.
So other than that decade, have they been successful?
Not incredibly successful. However, they average 1.3 All-Stars a season, which is pretty low compared to the other teams you've been talking about. But they have 35 playoff appearances in 52 years, which is better than the Pistons, so that's part of why they're higher, but is not nearly as good as the Celtics or the Lakers. And just
Or the
because...
Spurs.
What?
Never mind. Continue.
Okay, so they've... Hang on, let me just roast. They've won 6 championships out of 35 times they made it to the playoffs, which is over 1 every 6 years. And the Spurs have won 1 in every 9 because they've
So do
won
you think
5
the
out of
Bulls or the
45.
Spurs are better?
The Bulls.
But it's only because of Michael Jordan.
Okay, hop in and flame him with me.
It's only because of Michael Jordan, though.
Well, I think that you have to think about the impact that those Bulls teams had for decades to come as well. So not just regular winning percentage, things like that, postseason. You have to think what it did for the NBA as well. And so partially the reason why you got to put the Pistons on there is because they changed defense for years to come. That their team, their MO was defense. And then the Bulls' MO was get your one superstar and just get a team around him, a bunch of average players. Well, you know, Scottie Pippen wasn't average. But you got your one guy and then a bunch of average players who are very good at certain things. So your Steve Kerrs, Bill Paxton's, you know, Horace Grant's, Dennis Rodman's, and you just let them
Glasses,
play.
though.
I know, Horace Grant was the man. Smooth
Didn't he
mid-range
have a
jumper.
headband, too? Red headband? Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Well, he had the sports
strap.
goggles.
That
the
went
red
around?
strap.
The
Yeah,
rec
yeah.
specs.
Yeah.
But what they did was they kind of changed the landscape of how teams basically were formed from that point on, and then also how teams just guarded different players. I mean, the Bulls changed schemes for just years to come. And not to say that the Spurs haven't, because they had Tim Duncan and David Robinson together, the
Right.
giant 2 towers. So they, you know, they had their point. I mean, their entire MO is team basketball.
Right.
And it's fluidity. And so it's just very different. And so I think you have to consider kind of as well is the wow aspect of these franchises. And I think the Spurs play beautiful basketball, but it's not always the most exciting to watch as well. And so I think that's part of it. I mean, if it's excitement, then we got to put the Warriors at number 1. I think we all could
I think
agree
so.
on that. But that's not just
The
all
Clippers
of
are
that,
pretty
so.
exciting.
They were exciting until Doc Rivers ran the entire organization into the ground.
Can't deny
What was the name of the coach that, like, was racist and, like, black people?
No, that was
No,
the
that
owner.
was
That was
the
Donald
owner.
Sterling.
What was his role on the team?
He was the owner.
Yeah,
He was the owner?
Yeah.
Okay. Questionable.
Yeah, no, that's not questionable. That's definitely affirmative that he was an extreme racist and was potentially
Yeah, it was pretty
never. Not gonna say that.
He's racist.
bad.
Anyway, I just think that if it's like we're talking about franchises, we're talking about teams, and like I feel like the Bulls in like the '90s was like Jordan, like only Jordan really. I mean Jordan and Pippen, I guess they're a dynamic duo, but like he was pretty much the Bulls, and like he's
So
what
the
Bulls
Spurs
are
had
remembered
David
as.
Robinson and Tim
And
Duncan.
Tim Duncan and Manu Ginobili
and
and
then
Tony
Kawhi
Parker,
recently.
and then
So
Kawhi.
that's like one
right.
outlier. So they had
But
like
like they stayed for 20 plus years.
Okay.
Solid team.
People are still talking about the Bulls teams. Is anybody talking about the Spurs teams?
Wait, why are we talking about the Bulls? They have like Zach LaVine, I think. Like
Nowadays.
Right
yeah,
now.
but are people still talking about the Bulls' old teams and how good they were?
I mean, people are also still talking about the Spurs.
No, they're not.
Yes, they
Nobody's
are.
talking
I
about the
think
Spurs.
they are
No.
actually.
Only you, because you're a Spurs fan.
You don't have any like thing behind this. Every time I say something, you just have to like contradict me with absolutely nothing.
What? We're just gonna smooth past that. It's
No,
not
no,
absolutely
I
nothing.
Okay, I just think that I'm right.
It's
and you're
completely
wrong.
valid points.
You're right. It is valid points by me.
Not by you.
Let's move on. I think I'm right. You're wrong. Let's talk about why you
5
have
total
Philadelphia.
championships from the Spurs, and he says they're better than 16 by the Lakers and 17
No,
by
I
the
don't.
Celtics.
I think that is I think it's questionable with the Lakers and Celtics. I just think that they're a better franchise than the Bulls. Definitely.
You said Spurs have won.
Yeah.
You
I
said-
also
you
think
say the Spurs are better than the Lakers, Celtics, Warriors, and the Bulls.
I do think that. As I've said.
Then what did you just say?
No. I said it's close, but I think the
Okay.
Spurs are significantly higher than the Bulls.
The Bulls. Gotcha.
This is
Let's
about
talk about
as a
why you have the
franchise.
Heat and Philadelphia on here.
I didn't say they were the best. I just had them, so we had information.
I'm
in
just
case we wanted
wondering
to
why
talk about
you
them.
think that.
Because I scanned over multiple lists for facts, and they were both up there, and so I decided to put them on there. Just because I have them on the list doesn't mean
Spencer,
I think they're a top 5
you need
team.
to just calm down. You're getting really overworked for no reason. It's all right.
That's questionable.
It's all
That's
right.
questionable.
It's all right.
I'm getting overworked,
So-
even though you get super mad every time.
I'm not
I
getting
say
mad, I'm
something.
just wondering-
Here's the real question. What team, after going off best teams, what team do you think for the next, 30, 40 years can kind of cement themselves
Warriors.
and like past, like we're talking about the glory days of the Lakers and the Celtics and the Bulls, and as of right now, it's starting to look like the Spurs' glory days might be starting to trail
You're
behind
right.
them as well. So
What a bummer.
what franchises do we think might kind of start taking that mantle, or these treasured franchises that we just talked about turning around and being on the come up again? Which ones do you think we need to watch out for, outside of the Warriors, of course?
The
'Cause
Celtics.
why do you think that?
I mean, I don't know about if Kyrie's going to stay potentially in the next season, but with Brad Stevens as a coach, he's fantastic.
Mhm.
Number 2, he was snubbed, should have been coach of the year.
I agree.
Dwayne Casey won.
Yeah. And he got fired, which is pretty
It's
memey.
messed up.
But so they have Jason Tatum, who's a star that they snagged in the draft, pretty
Yeah.
good, and then they have Jalen Brown, plus they have Gordon Hayward and Kyrie.
Jalen Brown
if
went
they-
to Wheeler, just saying, which is where I live. Continue.
Okay,
Continue.
okay,
Yeah,
okay.
just saying.
And then they also have Jalen Brown, Al
And then
Horford.
Broken
So
Leg Boy. Gordon Hayward.
yeah,
Sorry.
Okay.
Continue. I'm just saying.
yeah, they do. But I mean, they have a pretty solid team, and they made it, almost got into the finals without their best 2 players. So if you can do that, and then you add your best 2 players to the team, that's going to be incredible. And I mean, I really think if they don't get injured, they're going to make it into the finals, and they could put up a fight against the Warriors. They won't win. but
Yeah, I
they
just
put up a
feel
fight.
like it doesn't. Like, because when we look back on it, it's just going to be like who won the championship. And I feel like the next, 5 years, it's going to be the Warriors every year. So.
It all depends on when KD decides to leave, I think, and blow everything up, or
Yeah.
when Clay. One of them's gonna leave for max money, but I think the Celtics definitely have a chance. Even if Kyrie leaves, I think Terry Rozier could step in and still be a solid facilitator as well. I don't know what Brad
Brian
Stevens is gonna do
Scalabrine
with
can
the
come out of
minutes now.
retirement.
The Red Mamba has to come back.
Wait, Red Mamba. That's Matt Bonner.
Oh,
White.
he's the White Mamba.
It's White Mamba.
Oh, White Mamba.
But
I don't know.
Confusing pale white people.
2 white people who are just trash.
Yeah.
Matt Bonner wasn't trash. Okay, I'm sorry.
Continue.
What? Okay.
Matt Bonner had. Okay, never mind. I'm just gonna say he's.
So
known
I
as
don't know
the Red
I don't
Rocket.
know what Steven's going to do with all the minutes, but also I would say don't sleep on the Suns as well for the time being. Well, they're going to be terrible for the next couple of years, but in the next 5 years we could see them on the rise as well. So
Devin Booker and DeAndre
I
Ayton,
think
maybe
Philadelphia could be good.
If Joel stays healthy.
Definitely.
Right.
And Simmons gets a jump shot. And when he gets a jump
Fultz.
shot, he's going to be unstoppable.
And
Or
shoot.
if Fultz does anything.
If he can
'cause I
actually
don't know,
shoot.
Yeah.
Maybe.
What his deal was.
I forgot he existed until I said his name. I'm not gonna lie. What?
This is funny.
Just thinking.
I'm thinking, yeah. I don't know.
Spurs fans be like, can't think of anything.
There's so many teams that have like been saying they've been rebuilding for like the past 10 years or like the past like 5 years. I'm like,
Utah could. I think Utah's a couple pieces away from being a pretty decent team as well. Get in the mix.
Yeah.
Just another.
Nobody
scorer.
would want to play
people
there,
kept
but-
saying Minnesota, but I don't think so anymore. I just don't think anything's gonna happen with Minnesota.
Agreed.
Yeah, they've been rebuilding for like 6 years, and
Yeah.
they're not good.
Jimmy Butler's gonna head out also.
He's
leaving.
going to San Antonio with Kawhi, and Kawhi's not leaving.
Definitely
They're winning
not.
the championship.
Definitely not.
Kyrie and Jimmy are probably going to New York, unless. Yeah.
I don't think New York could do anything though. Like, even if they had Kyrie and Jimmy, I don't think that can get them anywhere at
With
all.
Porzingis and some decent role players
But like,
out of the East.
I feel
for
like
sure.
that Kyrie would just do better staying on Boston. I think at least. I don't know.
Well, any last thoughts on top 5 franchises or up and coming franchises you think they'll leave a legacy? Anything else? Not the Spurs at number 1. Definitely not.
I think they are, but you know, we all
Either
have
they
our own.
have-
We all have our own opinions.
Sometimes they're
Spurs.
valid, but yes, we do.
It's fact if talking about the Spurs.
No. Alright.
Okay.
Lakers are number 1, Celtics are number 2.
Well, that's an opinion. We don't have
No,
to
that's-
prove, as we just discussed.
You're saying the Spurs are number 1.
You know,
I'm disgusted.
I don't appreciate your condescending comments every time I say anything.
Well, if you're going off of win percentage from the regular seasons, the Spurs have clear advantage. But if you're going off championships and championships alone, you
Right.
gotta go.
And
Celtics
All-Stars.
Celtics or
Celtics.
Lakers.
And legacy teams, and star players. So that's about it. Celtics and Lakers have head and shoulders above the Spurs. Not even a conversation.
Wait, why are you only talking about the Spurs?
Because
I
you
kinda
put them
thought-
at number 1.
I kind of thought this list was like about all the teams that were on it. Not
It
just
is, but I'm just frustrated. He put the Spurs at number 1 when they're definitely not. Lakers and Celtics are way above the Spurs.
Well,
I'm not mad.
He's definitely mad. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.
Bye.